What is good with it, everyone? Welcome back to Someone's PC Portland Regionals metagame discussion, take 2. Because the first take, I was muted the entire video, so we wasted 48 minutes of our time shooting it. And we also lost half the members of the Someone's PC squad because we all got lives and stuff to do. And I think Azul's, he's lost in La La Land.
He's really tired.
Yeah, I assume that too. H1Z1?
H1Z1.
H1Z1
Takes up a lot.
So, today we're going to talk about Portland, expanded metagame, and nothing but that, and how crappy toxic this stupid format is. And I'm really sad because I want to go to Portland, but an $850 flight does not sound appetizing.
Nope.
For us, or at all worth it, especially when it's going to be the smallest regionals of the year, perhaps, in the U.S. I think they said it was only 185 registered at the last time someone said. So, crazy. To your far left will be the original 4-member founder, homie, Mark Albright.
Hey, what's up, guys?
In the middle is me with the big nose, Russell Carr. Hi. And then on your far right is Brad Curcio.
What's up?
They're both wearing Someone's PC hoodies, and mine's
of course.
So, sad times. All right. I guess we're gonna talk about each deck individually, and then I'll sprinkle in some thoughts from Azul and Sosa, what they did on the video we had yesterday, because I kind of remember some of the stuff they said. So to start, Mega Rayquaza, do we expect it to be do we expect it to be very prominent after its showing from Alex Wilson at St. Louis? And is the deck good, or was it a fluke? I was watching Alex on stream. He was drawing like a god all day, and was drawing really, really well. Not to say he didn't pilot it well, but, you know, when you're running hot and then you have a lot of experience and you're a good player with the deck, I'm pretty sure, like, you know, success is going to come to you. Like, you have to be lucky to win a regional, for the most part. So, for him to do that well and be the only kind of Rayquaza in the entire top cut, right? I don't think there's many other Mega
Chip got 9th. He bubbled.
There you go, and Chip. So, was it a fluke that it won? And will we see a lot of it in Portland, Brad?
Yeah, I don't think it was really a fluke. I think it was really good for the meta. The only thing it kind of just lost to is Night March, and that was not played very much at all. So he was just able to hit everything. Like the Decidueye matchup's probably like close, but since you can one-shot them immediately if you go first and you play heavy hex, it's like pretty easy to do. So there's no real great answer to it that also is good against the rest of the metagame. So it's just kind of good right now.
Gotcha. Would you play the exact way he did with, I believe, water? Or like, what's your preference to that? I don't think Jolteon does much in expanded.
No, I don't think Jolteon's good. I don't think Jolteon's ever been good. I guess maybe metal.
Yeah.
If you, I don't really know.
Fear the Jirachi.
If you fear Jirachi, if you feel like Accelgor stuff like that.
Accelgor too, especially Accelgor Wob.
But I mean, Keldeo does the same
how
thing.
that interaction work? Accelgor into Wob. I think the hit goes off first before it switches.
No, I think you resolve everything, so they're still paralyzed.
Effects before damage.
I'm pretty sure they're still paralyzed if you bring up Wob. I think you have to resolve everything.
Okay.
But I'm actually not 100% sure.
Same.
But it's the same concept with Keldeo. You just like Lysander around it, but
yeah,
it's another out.
Okay.
And I don't think the water helps that much, but I don't really. I don't think that your tech choices matter too much most of the time. Yeah. It's just whatever specific matchup you want to tech against.
Yeah. Mark, I believe on the video yesterday you said you liked Mega Rayquaza, and that you're not willing to play it, but you just like it in general. Like it's good.
It's good. I wouldn't play it because
I feel the same.
It's childish.
I fear people taking the second step in the metagame, like back to Night March, and then just completely getting destroyed by it. Because like if we think that Decidueye Vileplume isn't as good as it really is, and people pick up on that and play Night March, then you're gonna have a really bad regionals.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that more people would try to counter Vileplume than they would try to counter Mega Rayquaza. So if you play Night March expecting that, you can beat all the Mega Rayquazas, and you can beat the stuff that tries to beat Vileplume, and then just dodge Plume. Which, for something like Portland, where you're not going to have to play, you know, as big of a field or whatever, it might be easier to do. But
yeah. I think they do, well, like the reasoning that we both agree on that whole like they'll counter Vileplume before they counter Mega Rayquaza is people fear the item lock. You know,
Yeah.
like when you have an item lock against you, whether they're like a super noob opponent or they're like crazy like world's winning slaughtering tournaments Ross Cawthorn style kind of status, like it's the same point where you feel helpless just because they established their turn one plume, and you want to fight against that as opposed to an unstoppable force like Mega Rayquaza, right?
Yeah.
Or Glass Cannon is a better word to say it, because that's not unstoppable at all. Parallel City them, pop them in the mouth, easy game. So to party with that, I personally don't think Decidueye Vileplume is gonna be as prominent, if not in terms of like actual decks played or ones that make top 8, just because more people are gonna have counters to it, and I think the players that can pilot it to success don't want to play it. It's not gonna be their thing.
And I think Lurantis Plume is going to be played more anyways, like it was before.
Just because people aren't used to it, or
yeah.
I can see that. So none of us here would play the Decidueye Plume, right?
Maybe in standard. Like I honestly probably would have played it in Australia, but going forward, no, probably not.
Yeah, same. I do respect it though as a good deck, but I do think that opening turn requires like a lot of experience to pilot efficiently. You know, what I've seen most of the time in standard league cups or when I'm like watching people play on stream and stuff is they focus so hard on hitting a turn one Vileplume. They expend too many resources, or like they ditch very critical like Decidueye pieces, or trainers may just grab like level balls and ultra balls instead of stuff that helps them staying like throughout the game. Oh, let me get this Vileplume online and hopefully I draw out of this, instead of just going for a Shaman and then missing your Vileplume for a turn. Like, okay, cool, give your opponent a turn of items. Is it that bad? They're not playing Volcanion.
Or they'll get the turn one plume and then have nothing to back it up, so they just still slowly lose.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of Wob's coming. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tons of Wob. All the Wob. So, Lurantis Vileplume, I still wouldn't play it. I know Brent and the Halliburtons were talking it up at St. Louis, and I think Mark and I were sitting there talking like, oh, should we really card bank? This shit's gonna be crazy, blah blah blah. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, bring it on. It's like if I lose to that, it'll be fine anyway. I end up like tying 8 times or something throughout the tournament with it anyway. So, I would expect to see more Lurantis Vileplume because, how do I say? I feel like it hits harder, and it's easier to pilot through difficult scenarios.
Yeah.
So like in Decidueye Plume, people don't see when they have to go into like a Sky Return loop in order to progress their early game into like the mid game to go into like 2 or 4 prizes, or they don't know when they should be attaching a Lugia. They don't know when they should attach a Decidueye. And Lurantis Plume, it's pretty darn simple. Make the Lurantis, dump the energy, and get the energy out there.
And it's easier to pilot because you have the Battle Compressor Revitalizer engine, so you can just set up your Lurantis really, really easily and then just throw a Plume down at some point.
Yeah. Agreed, Mark? I don't know if you like the Lurantis. I know you like the Stage 1 Lurantis in Standard quite a bit, but in like Standard.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's a lot more consistent. I think the Halliburtons had a really good list, and I think Chris should have played that instead of Cardbank like he was gonna, and then got scared at the last minute. Just the consistency of the deck is better overall.
Yeah, same. I also had this feeling when I first looked at Kettler's list, like Alex Hill and I kind of talked about this for a bit. From looking at it on paper, it doesn't look fully optimized for expanded. You know, like you look at it and you're like, you could do so much more. Like you can have compressors, more of a revitalizer, like max out on every single trainer you can, have a thicker Vileplume line, stuff like that. But after playing a couple of test hands with it and like seeing it in action, I think it's so niche to him and like his like play style that it complements it, that it throws off other players that don't know how to think in the same mindset that he can, which is like planning out your game, like your I don't know, game plan to take 6 prizes efficiently. Like everyone else just so focused on the Vileplume. But
Yeah.
we'll move on past Plume. So I guess in general we'll say we expect it to show up. I don't expect it to perform as successfully as it was now.
I'm
And,
sure there will be one in top 8, but I'd be surprised if there were multiple, or if it won the event.
hopefully the hype from Rahul and finishing in top 4 with Volcanion put some fear into people trying to play the deck. So I guess we'll talk about that next. Volcanion, very, very good from what I was seeing. It was between Cardbank or Volcanion for me at the start of the tournament. I know Azul said he absolutely loved playing the deck, and he'd probably play it again if he was going to Portland.
Yeah.
So there's not much to the list. It's just Blacksmith is really good.
Blacksmith is dumb, honestly. That's like the big difference between it and standard. You never have to worry about any of the things you would have to in standard. Like if they license your Volcanion EX, it's just like, okay, Blacksmith, kill you. Like there's no counterplay to it anymore. It's like and no Garbodor in expanded makes it much, much easier. The problem, you really can't beat Rayquaza if they play multiple Hex.
Which they will now, especially with Vileplume running around.
Yeah, so that's the big downside of it. Everything else is decent at worst. Like you can beat Vileplume, you can beat almost everything else. The Night March is kind of 50-50 too at best, but Rayquaza's horrible. So I don't think it's a very good play going to Portland, actually.
To completely disagree with Azul. Because it can play it.
Well, yeah, because I expect Rayquaza and Night March to be big, and Night March you can beat, but it's close. Mega Rayquaza just seems really bad. They one shot you. You have to two shot them back through Hex, and you can't even two shot them with a baby. So it's like they just do way too much, and you can't Blacksmith and Lysander in the same turn. So unfortunately,
there's no pressure, especially if they're forced to like retreat to a Hoopa and then just Hex you, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
literally. And they can do everything they want to do and Hex. So
pretty good.
Yeah.
Mark, would you play Volcanion?
No, and it's hard to argue with Brad's logic there. I can't really say anything else. It's like he covered it all.
And Rayquaza's coming.
Yeah.
I know that a few people. Well, we talked about this in the previous video. Is when Entei helps against Mega Rayquaza a wee bit, but I'm not sure if it's enough to like completely swing in its favor.
I don't think it's enough.
Yeah. But we'll see. It's everything's so. I thought expanded was at a point where it didn't feel as matchup oriented compared to standard. And then I went to St. Louis and I was like, all right, never mind. This is very. Oh, hey, look, I play a deck that like goes 80-20 against you, and then any 50-50s are decided by the coin flip, or like how much I pop off on turn 1 with Compressor and Madness. So. Portland's gonna be weird. I don't know. I think Getsus is slowly fading out of the format.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Parting its way out of there. I guess we'll talk about that next because Night March. One was in top 4 after beating Accelgor Wobbuffet in top 8, and since Mega Rayquaza did well, I kind of expect Night March to see a little bit of play. And it's fun for those people that always love Night March from last year.
Yeah.
With me not being one of them. Stupid deck.
I didn't really care for it, but I played it. I'm not gonna not play it, you know.
You made top 8
still want to win.
Worlds. You're fine. I totally love the deck. Yeah. Mark, I know you like Night March.
Yeah.
So, would you play it and would you up your Hex count to get through this Vileplume madness? Because, like, if you go first with Night March against Vileplume, you're fine. You're like in a chilling state, unless they hit like triple Decidueye, then you're gonna lose anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's triple Decidueye plus the Plume. There's no chances of you winning first, second, 20 turns.
Just a triple Decidueye. They don't even need the Plume.
Yeah. So, like standard Night March list, they play Tauros now, so you can counter out Toad. Would you up your Hex count, or like keep it pretty much the same, and then take your coin flip against Vileplume? How would you kind of approach that?
I would play 2. I think it's worth it to play 2. That way, if they don't pop off with like multiple Decidueye turn 1, you have a good chance. But yeah, I mean, I would play Night March. I would play it with 2 Hex. I like Tauros. It's a really good call. It gives you a really good option versus Toad if that sees play.
Tauros is really freaking
Yeah,
good.
it's
Like,
It's
disgusting.
stupid good.
disgusting.
Yeah.
In a cool way, like balance. Shouldn't have to fear Seismitoad just because it hits you for 30 and item locks you. So, that's a good call. I guess we would say that if you're playing for this weekend, definitely be able to beat Yveltal, Night March, and Mega Rayquaza because it is the West Coast, and they love those
Yeah.
Gym Darks.
Yeah.
Israel is going.
Yeah. So next up, we'll talk about Yveltal Maxies. Israel had like a little 10-minute segment on the previous video.
Maybe
where
you should just like cut to that.
I was considering doing that, but I don't know. I might be able to do that. Either way, we'll talk about that right now. He was like, Yveltal's best deck. We're fine. He's considering the Parallel City or Enhanced Hammer for the Mega Rayquaza decks. He still thinks you have a good matchup against it once you end them to 2 and then Silent Lab.
I don't disagree with that, honestly.
And then you just use Sableye to loop back your resources.
Yeah.
And then fight them with a Stadium War. I can kind of agree with that. But then we talked about how everyone doesn't like Sableye, and I absolutely love it.
Well, he also plays dowsing, which nobody else does, which is a big difference.
Is it because
Stadium War.
they're so obsessed with the tournament maxis, or they just don't think on the same level that Israel does?
Well,
The
Israel's
mid-game
lists are
swing.
always so much different than
Wonky.
your standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the dowsing helps to win the Stadium War all the time. Like you can end them to 2, they can bump your stadium, kill your Sableye, and then you can end them to 1 and have a dowsing ready to bump their stadium immediately. Like it's really, really good if you can do that, but it's still iffy.
Yeah. Deck's solid anyway. Mark,
Yeah.
would you go with the 2-2? Would you go like 2 Maxis, 1 Gallade, 1 Archeops? Or do you think it's fine? Archeops is now more important than ever with like Vileplume running rampant, Mega Rayquaza being around. Like you can force them to Hex and then have to Mega Evolve. And you take away little plays that they kind of depend on in order to pop off against you. So.
I don't know. Like I feel like I've tried every different version of counts, and first of all, Maxie's, it hates me. I don't ever hit that, like ever. It just does not happen. So I would just play the 1-1-1 and I'd rather opt for more consistency elsewhere. But maybe I'm just biased against the card because it doesn't see me ever. Like it never happens.
Yeah, playtesting against Keon sucked. The deck loves him. Like he's like, okay, let's go and do this. Turn 1 Gallade. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
it's been 4 games in a row. Calm down. Prize 1. I don't know. Do something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a good deck. Just like always, you can tech out your Yveltal to counter the matchups that you need to. And from what
And there's
I've
nothing that just
yeah.
decimates Yveltal that you're like, there's not something you're terrified to play against. Like, some matchups are obviously much easier than others, but there's nothing that your opponent flips over that you just immediately like, okay, I lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
You always have an answer to something.
Like, well, it was fun, boys. Take it easy. I think Max is talking to Brad because we can see his shadow in the background mirror of the painting. It was beast. All right. Good call. Definitely be able to beat Yveltal Maxis if you go this weekend to Portland because they love Dark so much. I think I played 4 when we went to San Jose, maybe 5, but it was pretty hype. Next on the list, Groudon. Good old Stefan and Joe's little madness of the West Coast. I think more people are expecting Groudon to show up, but they themselves won't play it because they don't have access to 4 beaches. And they're like trying to weigh the consequences of playing beach. I think the logic behind it all is just Wobbuffet. That's what it feels like. Like they feel so safe against Mega Rayquaza, against Vileplume, against like all these other control decks that are coming out, just because they have Wobbuffet and they can make their Groudon with ease. Because Groudon didn't really gain anything much from the recent sets, right? Like absolutely nothing. It just
no, I don't think so.
It's literally just the meta kind of develop in a way where Wobbuffet's like helps them more. But since people know Wobbuffet's coming, the counters are coming, and Groudon loses to like just dumb hands and like awkward scenarios you get. I think Kevin Baxter finished in top 16 or top 32. I know he's in top 32.
He was definitely top
Yeah.
32. I don't know if he top 16 or not.
Yeah, I'll have to go
Actually, I think he
research that.
did.
I don't see him not making top 16 with that deck. Because he had a lot of decent matchups going day 2. And then Grafton had some horrible luck against him. And
Yeah.
like lost game 1, I think, or lost a really long game 1, and then game 2 couldn't finish with like KOs or something. Or he just 2-0'd him because things worked out that way. Either way, I believe the Groudon's a really good call. And that if I was going to Portland, I would be playing Flygon with Groudon as my backup. Easy peasy. So
Easy peasy.
easy peasy, dude. What's left on the list? Accelgor Wob. This is one of the hype decks that everyone was talking about yesterday on the video and how much they loved it. And then we all kind of agreed. It only loses to itself because it sucks. It draws like crap. And you go into your mid game and you're like, oh, I missed the 1 DC. I had 3 DC in my deck. I chorus for 10. I missed them, and I lost. And the lock ended, or your opponent plans a really savage AZ against you.
Yeah.
Takes out
There's a
your
lot of like
resource.
little things you can lose to, but and Night March.
I feel like that's a big deck that you just lose to yourself, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, like you lose to things that are outside of your control just because you couldn't get it with the Moonshana, or they KO'd your Moonshana first and then slowly bed you out of resources. So I think it's a good deck. I believe it's strong going into the meta that we're expecting, but people should be smart enough to start countering the expected meta to the point where Wobbuffet's either obsolete or you're not playing a deck that is just not as strong as it could be because you have so many moving parts. I think that's what we talked about yesterday, Mark. So
Yeah.
solid deck. I wouldn't play it, which is funny because I would play Flygon instead. So people are like, isn't it the same thing, Russ? Like, no, dude. It's world of difference. You got Dusknoir, you got Sandstorm, or Sandslammer. I missed that card. So, Brad, would you recommend playing Accelgor Wob?
I think I do think it's a
piloted
good
yourself,
choice.
though? Like, have you ever played
No.
it? Okay.
No, I've never played it in a tournament. I've like played hands like locally or whatever with it,
Test
but
hands or something,
yeah, I don't think that's just not something that I personally would ever bring to a tournament. I don't think I just don't like the idea of like slowly locking and hoping your opponent doesn't like respond to it. I like just killing everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good deck mainly because of Wob and because there's no big counters in the current format. Like a lot of decks besides like Rayquaza don't really play like Keldeo, stuff like that. So there's a lot of the things that beat the deck aren't played as much anymore. So I think it's good, but I personally wouldn't play it.
Okay. Mark?
Yes, I would play it. It's in my top 3.
Or Whack?
It's good, man. It's so good. Like
So Soso's between Accelgor Wob and Yveltal's, so I guess.
Yveltal.
Yeah, between.
Between. He's like, if Yveltal wasn't a deck, I'd play Accelgor Wob.
Yeah.
So, I guess to finish up would be Toad Decidueye, which had a decent performance in seniors and in masters. No bueno. One minus top 32. I'm trying to remember.
I think it's top 8.
Table. Top 8?
It did, didn't it? So Decidueye? Yeah, Shemansky.
Oh,
Shemansky
Was
made
he-
top 8?
yeah.
Oh,
Not
Alex
his brother.
Shemansky.
Chris.
Yeah, Alex.
Alex. Yeah.
That was Toad Decidueye? Beast.
I think so.
Does that beat Lurantis Vileplume? Or Decidueye
I
Vileplume?
don't think so. I don't think so.
Does it beat Mega Rayquaza?
I mean, I still personally don't think the deck is that good. However, I don't know what he beat or whatever, but obviously we might be missing something, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't. It has like unlimited damage potential or whatever, but
Yeah.
I don't see it.
I think if you add an energy removal into it, in terms of like Zerosic, Team Flare Guns, and Enhance Hammer, you definitely swing the Mega Rayquaza matchup hard. So if you see this like
Yeah.
pure meta of exactly what we're talking about with Yveltal, Night March, and Rayquaza, then it wouldn't be a horrendous call. But you'll take some pretty crappy matchups to Vileplume and
That's
the other
fair.
grass decks, Lurantis and like Decidueye. So, yeah, I wouldn't play it. Unless you're
I mean, I guess if you set up the
just feeling
Decidueye
crazy.
versus their Decidueye, but you have the Flare Grunts and Zerosix, you'll win that. But
Hmm. I feel like they have faster ways of getting to it than you do. Because you
yeah, I
have.
mean, I think they're probably built better
Mhm.
for setting up the Decidueye. However, if you can just draw into your pieces or whatever, but still, I don't,
Yeah. Mark,
I
would
don't
you
think
play
so.
it?
No, not at all. No.
What's your
Wouldn't even consider it. It's
yeah.
too. I don't like the inconsistency of it.
I don't like having not. I don't like not having scoop up.
Yeah.
Not having
It
scoop
just
up feels weird. It's busted. Like when I Quaking Punch, I was like, it's okay. Anything goes wrong, I'll just pick this up with the DCE.
Yeah, literally.
I miss my Zubats with free retreat.
yeah. That's so underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last deck, Flygon. Yes. So, um, people are like, "Oh, Russ, you're just talking out of your ass. It's totally fine." No, no, dude. So, you have everything a Accelgor Wob has, all right, but you don't have to completely lock the active Pokemon for the rest of the game to win. Like that's just a side benefit. It's a cherry on top to what you actually need. So what you need to do is you go find four tropical beaches. That's step one. And then you have to convince yourself not to play Groudon for whatever reason, because you have four beaches, and you actually beat Groudon with the deck because you just make a Accelgor over and over again plus a Dusknoir, and then you just keep taking the damage off of the Wobbuffet and put it onto the Groudon on the bench, and you keep it locked there for forever until they switch it. After they keep healing off off their Groudon over and over again, and then once they finally get rid of their Wobbuffet, you can go into your Flygon, start damaging out the Groudon, and slowly grind them out of stadiums until you can win the game. So I've tested it a few times. It's really cool. You hit Groudon for weakness, unless they start playing weakness policy because it's like Durantis, Decidueye, Crab. But
I think they do, but
yeah, still doable. Still totally fine. You play your beach before they play theirs. Look at that, minus 2 or 3 cards in their hand because they can't play it down until they start attacking and they throw the stadium away. So that'll suck. But
then you get the first opportunity to play it.
exactly. And people are like, "Aren't you scared of Toad or anything like that?" No, you play a Mew EX and you copy Quaking Punch, and then you trade Quaking Punches back and forth, and then right before your Mew dies, you Sky Return that shit right back into the hand, clean all the damage, punch it back down, keep Quaking Punching them. I didn't think it was gonna work until I played Flygon Raichu 2 years ago at Worlds for day 2. And Wambolt was like, play Mew EX. It's busted. Trust me. And I played against Colton Day round 2. I kept Quaking Punching him with the Mew and Sky returned it. And then he ended me. And I drew right back into DCE and Mew. And I was like, oh, I feel bad, dude. This sucks. So, that was fun. If you want to have fun this weekend and you want to play a very, very skill-intensive deck and lose just because you have too many Stage 2s, play Flygon. It's really fun. If you were going this weekend, Brad, what would you play?
Either Yveltal or Night March.
Boo, so basic.
So standard, dude. I know, but I like
Consistent.
not taking. Yeah.
No risk. All reward.
No.
All right, Mark.
No risk playing some random stuff.
Skype froze the crap out of me. So when they see the video, it's gonna be like, no.
Oh, shit.
Mark, what'd you play?
I'm completely like off the radar. I'd either play Carbink again. I fell in love with that deck in St. Louis.
Ooh.
So good.
Cool.
Especially if we expect the increase in Night March and Mega Ray and Yveltal being so popular on the West Coast. You literally like don't lose to all 3 of those decks like at all. Like they're just so free. Or I would play the deck that John Roberts played at St. Louis, but with a better list. Lurantis Evolutions. I think if you built that list like more consistently, that could actually be like a really scary deck for a lot of people to play against.
I don't like getting one shot by Mega Rayquaza. Scary.
You can one shot it though.
Yeah, I think Carbink messed me up for expanded because I want to play Focus Sash and everything.
Yeah, for real.
So, really
Bro.
sucks. Yeah. If you are considering Carbink, please consider Machamp EX. At least 2 of them. because you backhand Vileplume Decidueye.
And
If you get decent like start or you have a set amount of supporters, because you play 2 PCL, 2 AC, and some other cards anyway. So you're like, oh, when you get confused, Russ, it's like, no, you use the first attack where you hit them for 20 times the number of damage counters on you. You just bop them in the mouth.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Karen wins you Night March hands down.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't go to the tournament without playing Karen.
Yeah.
I actually Karen one of my opponents and still lost. That's how bad my hand was. It was a lot of fun. God,
If it makes
the
me feel
Night
better, one of my 2 losses was the Turbo Dark.
Holy crap, that sucks.
Yeah, it was really bad draws.
All right. Any last minute advice, Mark, to everyone going to Portland besides have fun or some kind of PR crap answer like that?
No, nothing.
Brad?
No, I think that's about it. Just play Hex, honestly.
Play Hex no matter what.
Pretty much. Even, like, you're either going to play against all these broken ability decks or people trying to counter it. Either way, Hex is broken.
Yeah. All right.
Archie's Voice, some random shit's going to pop up and you're going to want it.
Archie's Voice would be fun. I mean, I'm sure that person must like losing to Vileplume, so.
I mean, yeah, but...
Or Hex Strings for Mega Rayquaza, right?
Probably.
Crap.
But, like,
Even
you
with
don't...
Lapras, that's not good.
No. Early on in the tournament, you can't really afford to take these early losses to random stuff, so...
Yeah. No, trust
You're
me,
not going to hit
I
that.
know. Ugh.
It's even worse for something like Portland, though.
Where you're not getting money from top 32? You need to be top 16? Yeah. No risks, all consistency.
Yeah, no risk, just play consistency.
Yeah, makes sense. So,
or if you're very, very confident in your risk.
If you're going to Portland this weekend, or you're just listening in for your Expanded League Cup, good luck at your events. Hopefully you don't get item locked and frustrated to the point where you throw your deck. Because I've seen that in person. It was really, really cool. I haven't done it, though. But yeah, I just saw it. Second, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Ultimate Guard, because they supply us with some really sick-looking deck boxes. And the Hive thing we got. Like 5 deck boxes? Juicy. Plus sleeves, because the sleeves are dope. So,
Yep.
Lastly is we have a few announcements coming for someone's PC soon that we can't talk about. But if they go through, I think it's something the entire community is going to be excited about. You know? Like that's kind of the thing where people have been like, this is what we wanted for a while now that Magic and some teams in Yu-Gi-Oh! Had. So let's hope that falls through, and then we can start doing a bunch more videos announcing it. And we're also going to have more content coming out just because we need to make more videos that are shorter. And there's a couple things that I want to talk about in videos that I don't discuss in my articles just because it's so... Crap, how do I say it? Specific? Yeah? Like, it's so scenario dependent on some of the topics I want to talk about. That writing about it would just confuse people. I'd have to take photos and, like, point, circle stuff, do this, like, how about we just do a video and explain the interactions and stuff going on, especially with sequencing and Vileplume and Decidueye. If you've noticed, we haven't done an article on that for someone's PC, just because I want it to be either myself or Dylan talking about the deck, and only after I've had a ton of experience both piloting it in tournament, outside of tournament, and then theorizing it in my head on most of the matchups in the meta. So once I can get that down, I think it's going to be a super solid article for everyone to read. And don't forget to check out Sosa's article on Yveltal, because he played the same list he said he would in the article and made top 8 with it, and did a huge explanation of why he plays what he played at every moment. So thanks guys for logging into someone's PC, and we'll catch you next time.